It's now time for the #1 podcast in iHeartRadio. It's Your House is Key, the podcast that opens the door to your dream home. Hosted by the remarkable Danelle Shepard, he's your trusted guide in the world of real estate. Whether you're buying your first home, selling your current one, or simply curious about the market, this podcast is your one-stop shop for all things real estate. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host and my good friend, Danelle Shepard.
Welcome to Your House is Key podcast. As always, I am your favorite realtor and host, Danelle Shepard with the Lazo Group. And today I got my good buddy. Who are you, sir?
Tim HusVar with Environmental Doctor.
That's right. He's the gas man. Yeah.
I don't know about that one. That's not going to catch on.
Okay. Not that he helps you find the gas, right?
Radon.
Radon.
Strictly radon.
So, first of all, thank you for coming today.
Sure.
A lot of people are unaware of a silent, like most gases are silent and deadly, but there's one common one that we have here in the Midwest specifically, which is radon. Right. What is radon and what's the concern to homeowners?
So radon is, as uranium in the soil deteriorates, it gives off radon, and then radon turns into what's called radon decay products. And when those are inhaled, can lead to lung cancer. And so that's the issue with radon is lung cancer.
Ah, man. So listen, the funny thing you say that is because I have a client and they are I guess I could name their profession. So yeah, they work for CDC. I'll just put it that way. And we were looking at a house and I said something about radon and she was like, oh no, that's serious. It is the second leading cause of lung cancer. And I was like, really? And so, yes, guys, it is. Radon is very serious. I was ignorant on that subject. I just knew radon was something that when the levels were high, looking at a house and someone's buying a house, you need to get it tested and get it checked out.
For sure.
And that's when you call on experts like Tim and they get it taken care of. So got some questions for you. All right. How does someone test for radon in their home and how often should that be done?
So the EPA recommends every 2 years.
Okay.
And so that's whether you've got a radon mitigation system in there or not.
Every two?
Every two.
Ooh, shoot. Can I get on your, yeah, I need
Oh, you do?
get on your calendar.
We'll take care of you when we get out of here.
Hey, I need to book mine.
Siri, remind me.
Right. Hey, Siri. No, but go ahead.
So testing, we do professional testing. We use continuous radon monitors we can bring to the house and then leave it for a minimum of 48 hours. You can also buy kits at like Lowe's or Home Depot, which are charcoal kits, which you leave. I see. And then you send those off to the lab and you get your results.
Okay.
The continuous radon monitors, the benefit is you're able to see what your radon levels do over that 48 hours. So every hour you're going to see, is it up? Is it down? What times is it starting to peak? Is it dropping? That type of thing.
Oh, wow. So listen, first of all, that every 2 years, man, that's crazy. I need to make sure we gotta get that done. Appreciate that. Now, here's a deep question. Being in Cincinnati in the Midwest or Cincinnati in Northern Kentucky, what is the risk of radon? And is this area more susceptible to it than any other areas?
Not than any other, but it's got high radon. So if you go to the EPA's website, which is epa.gov/radon, they've actually got a map there and it shows you, hey, this one's high, this one's low by county.
Oh, wow.
So around us, Butler, Warren, all of that is high.
I had a client that had 27.
So I've tested well over 100 up in Franklin. Yeah. There's newer subdivisions up there.
And they're alive?
And they're alive.
Oh.
Actually, we mitigated it. You got it under 1.
Wow.
Yeah. So with Ohio, you've got something called Ohio shale, which is a geological formationist rock, but it's enriched with uranium. So that's a problem. And then also we've got what's called a glacial till, which is when the glaciers came down, it moved everything up and everything from Illinois and I believe it was Wisconsin kind of got directed this way. Wow. And so again, we get enriched soil down this way, which leads us to higher radon levels.
Wow. So, man, that's That's crazy. So that's why maybe you shouldn't either. I'm not using a Home Depot kit. That right there just made me, there's no way.
I just wanted to, it's out there. I would recommend professional testing for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that I just can't. Okay, now at what level should a homeowner be concerned?
So radon, and this is a question I get a lot, is what's the safe level of radon?
Right.
And radon, I told you the risk is lung cancer. So equate it to smoking cigarettes. How many cigarettes are safe to smoke? How many do you want to smoke?
Right. That's true.
So our levels here in Ohio, regulated by the Department of Health, is 4.0 and higher. You should mitigate.
Okay.
So when I'm seeing tests, and again, I mentioned those electronic monitors, the continuous radon monitors, you're able to see it peak and valley. So when I see a test that comes in at 2.8, does that mean that it's going up to 11 at this point, and then it's going back down to 0.2, 0.3 here? And during that time when it's an 11, are you and your family hanging out down in your basement family room?
Oh wow!
So that's things that I would consider. My family personally, if it was high twos or something like that, I would recommend to mitigate, just because the cost it isn't terrible when you put into the whole framework of everything else. I would recommend to mitigate, but EPA recommends mitigation 4.0 and up.
Okay, well, there we go. Yeah, how many cigarettes do you want to smoke? That was a good question right there. I was like, well, we put it that way.
Dude, I don't know.
No chain gang here, no. All right, so listen, if a home tests high for radon, like once you get the readings and you're like, hey, it's average out here, here's the number, anything above. So when you say 4.0, so if it's 4.1, it's over.
Recommendation is to mitigate.
Okay. 3.9.
My personal recommendation would be to mitigate. But when you're talking like a real estate transaction,
okay, yeah,
that's what everybody goes with is, oh, I'm at 3.8. We're safe. We don't have to do anything. That's the seller saying that. So the buyer moving in might have another idea, but to try to negotiate it into the purchase contract or to get the seller to
be at that 4.
Yeah, you get a little pushback otherwise.
Yeah, I've been in those situations. Yeah, but that's why I call the expert. Yep. Hey, I got to get you in. So once you get that right, what are the typical steps to get it mitigated and bring the levels down to something safe? Like,
so
through that, how does that?
The mitigation that we use around here is a depressurization. That's the most common one that we use.
Okay.
And whether it's a basement or a slab, you're trying to depressurize underneath that slab. So you're trying to move the air from underneath it. When it's a crawl space and you encapsulate it, it's a submembrane depressurization. So you're pulling air from underneath that vapor barrier.
Right. Okay.
Same idea. You're trying to pull all the air from underneath there before it can come into your house.
Okay.
So that's at the heart of it.
So if you get tested and it's a finished basement, I guess it's you just got to figure out. So how do you find unfinished room? Like how do you, and what actually, and I know you said that you described it. Is it a stack that takes it out? Is it a fan that takes the air out or bring the air in?
A combination of the two.
Okay.
So let's just use the basement for an example.
All right.
And it would be the same with a slab. So we would core a hole through it, right through the slab. And then from there, we're going to put a stack, which is typically a 3-inch pipe, 3-inch PVC pipe.
Okay.
And it's going to run up and out and connect to a fan. And that fan's going to draw that air from underneath and then throw it up and over your roof line.
Oh, wow. So that's the extra pipe you always see coming out that has that big old, what is that big thing?
That's the fan.
That's the fan.
That's your fan. Yep.
Ah, okay. Because I'm like, where is the fan? Now, here's, don't drink the juice. You'll get it. Here we go. So when you put the radon system in, right? So now it's in, you come back, right? Or do you come back once the system in? Do you check it?
We do. So Ohio code or the radon mitigation standards, which is the code for Ohio radon mitigators, requires us to test it. So the system has to run for a minimum of 24 hours. So typically what we'll do is our tech is there. We put the system in and it's operational. We'll set up the test and put it on a 24-hour delay.
Is there any like once you put it? Sorry for interrupting.
No,
but when you put the test out, is there any restrictions to the area or to the room or to the home, or is it's a test and I'll just go back?
It's just like any other pre-test, like when you do for a real estate transaction, you see the signs that are out, maintain closed building conditions.
Okay.
So closed building conditions, which you don't have to worry about too much in Cincinnati in December, January, February, because it's too cold.
Right.
You know? So you're not going to have your windows wide open. You're not going to have your doors wide open. You can come and go like you normally would.
Right.
But like if somebody is moving at that point in time, they got all their doors open to get furniture in and out. You can't do that while you're doing radon tests.
So then you have to leave it longer or come back another.
That would negate that test. We'd have to rerun it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So leave your doors and windows closed or stay out of that room.
Or do it again.
Yeah, well, that's more money on you. Yep. Okay, so cool. What advice would you give home buyers when it comes to radon? Should they test before purchasing?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
And I would say even if it's got a radon mitigation system in it, if it hasn't been tested in the past 2 years, go ahead and test it.
All right.
The high radon levels in this area are so common that I would say just test it. I mean, a test is about $175.
Okay.
Just test it.
So to prevent as much as possible getting lung cancer, it only costs you about $175
to test it.
To
yeah.
test.
And then you got to mitigate.
Yeah.
But as far as myths associated with it, one of the most common I still hear is I don't have a basement, so I don't have to worry about radon. Radon comes from under the ground, so
yeah,
unless your house is on stilts, you know, you still got to worry about it. You still got to worry about it.
And and to me, it felt like radon just became a big thing. So
awareness.
Okay, so it's awareness. Okay, so it's always been here.
Yeah.
But now people are becoming more and more aware of,
absolutely,
hey, this is something that's deadly in essence, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As more awareness has come, we see a lot more. It's way more common testing with real estate transactions now than it ever has been. And this area with the levels that we have, it's very common. It's rare that I see transactions anymore that don't involve a radon test.
Wow.
Radon testing is required with Fannie and Freddie finance properties on multi-unit buildings. So I believe one day it'll probably head that way towards single families as well.
Wow.
As of now, it's still up to the buyers.
Oh, wow. So multi-units have to have it.
Yep.
Pay attention for you investors out there. You buy that multi-unit, make sure you got some radon in there. Radon mitigation. Get it out. There you go. So levels spike in the winter, correct? Can you explain what happens? Why in the wintertime? Why not the spring, summer? And what can a homeowner or a soon-to-be homeowner do to address it for the wintertime?
So the way a building breathes, it's which is the thermal stack effect.
Okay.
And so it breathes from the ground up. So even when you look at your attic, you've got your intake vents in your eaves, and you got your ridge vent along the top. So it's intake and then exhale. It's the same thing with your whole house.
All right.
So the air comes in down here. Well, when you heat your house and the hot air rises, it creates a chimney effect in the house. You're drawing in more soil gas. You're drawing in more stuff from the bottom. So it's going to increase those radon levels if you've got radon in the soil.
So it's like radon singing. Started from the bottom. Now we're here, right?
Here we go.
Here, I'm in your basement. Now in your living room. Yep. You got to get me out. So when you install the stack, this is the don't drink the juice. What is the red stuff on, like? Is it a meter? Does it work? Is it telling you something?
It does.
Like, okay.
Yeah. You're talking about the manometer.
The manometer. The manometer. That's the manometer.
Yep. And so you said the red. So yeah, there's red, there's blue, there's green.
See, I've never seen any other color.
And it's not Kool-Aid. Like do not drink the juice. So all that's doing is it's measuring pressure.
Okay.
And it's designed to measure the pressure that fan is pulling underneath the slab.
So it's not measuring. Sorry, it's not measuring radon.
Not measuring radon. No.
So if I go and check mine and it says if it's under 4, it's not telling me my radon level is under 4. It's saying
that's how hard your fan's pulling.
Oh, shit.
Yep, that's it. And if it says 4, we got to go take a look at it.
No, just joking.
Yeah.
But so, man, that wow.
So for a homeowner, what that'll tell you is as long as one side is higher than the other, it tells you that your fan's still pulling.
Okay.
So when they're even, your fan stopped. So it could be the switch is off, your breaker to it is off, or your fan is dead.
Wow.
But if you've checked your switch, you checked your breaker, and those are still good, you call your radon person to come on out and check it. For a radon professional, they can come out and they can take a look at what fan that is. They can tell what kind of pressure it is, and they know how much CFM is getting pulled out exactly.
So is there a certain side that's supposed to be, or is it?
No. So whichever side, if you look at it, you've got the U-tube, and then there's a little plastic tube that gets drilled into the side of the stack.
Yeah.
And then from there, it goes into one side of that tube. Whichever side it's in, that's the side it's going to pull up.
So what if it comes out?
You got to put it back in.
What if you lose juice?
We can add more juice for you. We've got spare juice.
So don't add water. It's just
no, we'll get the juice.
Okay, get the juice. I like that. Only if we were playing baseball. Need the juice, not the juice. So all right. So we talked about that. Now, is there a huge, or do you see? I think I have my opinion on it, but from your site, is there a huge return on investment when it comes to adding a mitigation system to your home, whether you currently living there, future selling, like what?
So I can see that from two different aspects.
Okay.
One, the benefit to you and your family while you're there. I mean, that's what price tag can you really put on?
Right. Life or death, right?
Right.
Yep.
So what's sad to me is when I see homeowners that they're selling their house.
Yeah.
And get the radon levels checked and see, hey, it's 10. Now we have to pay to put a system in for the next family to get the benefit of that system, you know?
Or they hit you with that. Well, I've lived here for 20 years and
I'm good.
Look
at me. You know?
So here, is this a myth, right? So there's homes in the inner city that they're not poured. Is there a difference if it's a poured foundation versus the stone foundation, what they consider to be breathable? Is radon higher in those stone foundations versus a poured foundation, or?
Not that I've noticed.
Okay.
I haven't noticed an increase. They can be harder to mitigate because typically stone foundations are so much older than a poured foundation. And what some of the challenges in mitigation is you've got to be able to move that air underneath the entire slab. So if we've got our pipe over here in the corner, and this is the only area that we're mitigating, that doesn't help you and your family. So you've got to be able to move it through the entire floor. So when you've got a house built in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, pretty sure once we drill through it, we're going to have gravel of some type underneath there that we're able to move air through. When you've got a house from the 1900s, you don't know what you're getting in there until you get through it. And it could be gravel, it could be clay. I mean, it could be all kinds of stuff. And that's when you get into some of the challenges of moving that air. And that's why it's so important to use somebody. It does matter who you use to mitigate. You've got to take the time to make sure you're getting what's called communication underneath the entire slab.
Okay.
And you do that by taking air measurements using manometers. You don't just stick a pipe in the floor, put a fan on it, and call it a day. You know?
So with saying that, right? So that's a good segue because I got some other questions for you. Is it safe or best practice to use a sump pump if your house has it, or is it better to find your own, or do they not really correlate? It's just what's needed.
You mean as far as putting the pipe in?
That is correct. Yeah.
Current Ohio radon mitigation standard says you should not use the sump pit. So contractors should not be putting them in the sump pit unless there's a reason. So a reason would be every single bit of this place is finished except this one little corner where the sump pit is. And then you've got to document that, and then you put that documentation in your file why you had to do that.
Right.
What we'll do in homes with a sump is a lot of times we'll go adjacent to it. Your sump, you've got your sump pump, and then you've got the perimeter drain that goes all the way around underneath the slab.
Correct.
Which is a fantastic way to move air. So if we can get our suction point close to that perimeter drain, man, it's great to move air through the entire thing. So a lot of times it's easier to mitigate a house that's got an existing sump system with a perimeter drain than one that does not.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you can't mitigate ones that don't have them. I mean, we mitigate stuff from, like I said, the 1900s, 1890s, whatever.
So now, is there ever a time where it's like, hey, because of this reading, I have to go in this finished area because this is the only place that allows me to get a better communication, as you call it, better breathing flow in the property?
There are times, and it wouldn't be a reading of the radon reading. It would be the airflow readings.
Okay.
It could be, in the past I've had where they had huge old fireplaces or something down in the lower level, and underneath that is going to be what? It's going to be a footer. Well, you're not going to move air through a footer.
Correct.
So we can't put your suction point back here behind here because it blocks off the rest of your basement. So at times we got to get creative.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Let's see. So we talked about, what was we'll go here. What are some big misconceptions about radon that you think you can clear up?
Every so often I still hear that radon is a myth. I'm here to tell you it's for real. It really does exist. It's really on the periodic table, you know? Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one. The one I had mentioned about the slab foundation, you do still need to test. The benefit of the, slab of the basement is the basement, typically you're closed up. You don't get the airflow that you normally would like on a slab.
Right.
So sometimes, levels might not be as high, but we still mitigate them all the time because they're over 4.
All right. Now I just recall. So is it true that you only need to worry about radon if you plan on finishing your basement?
No. Yeah. So I've seen, and this will make your head bend a little bit. When you get
I'm ready.
high-rise type buildings, right, where the lower levels you're getting nothing, and then like on the 4th level, all of a sudden you've got a high radon level over here. Wow, what the heck's going on? Well, you've got a chase or something, an HVAC chase that maybe when this unit over here turns on their exhaust fan in their bathroom, it creates a suction and it's pulling it right up from the basement. I mean, there's all kinds of science actually goes into it, right, that you've got to think through. Again, that's why it's not stick a pipe through the floor. You've got to really think through it and really do your diagnostics.
So it's safe to say when I'm out with my clients, when we put an offer, we go through this inspection, you're doing our contingency periods to no matter if you're finishing a basement or not, yep, you need to get a radon testing.
For sure.
Okay. And because you would hear that, well, they're not going to finish the basement. I don't think they need it, but excuse me, it's a deadly gas. So you need to check regardless.
It doesn't stay in your basement. I mean, it's going to come up to the upper levels.
Now, is there whoever's inventing this is my idea. Now, so you have those little carbon monoxide testers and all that. Is there a tester like that out for radon, or is it? Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry, you missed out on that.
I did.
You missed it. There are some.
It's at Home Depot and Lowe's too.
No, they've actually got digital ones. You've got them where they're all high tech and you can track them on your phone through Bluetooth and this and that. And they're fairly good. The downfall is our monitors, we have to send off yearly to have them recalibrated in a lab. There's no official recalibration of those bad boys. So over time, they start losing that accuracy.
Okay. So it's deadly, whether you're finishing the basement or not. The juice is not the level, it's the fan pressure. I just learned that not too long ago. No, I'm just joking. That is not my credibility of a realtor. I'm just telling you. Most people don't know that.
That's true. People all the time say, "Oh, look, my radon level's fine." I'm like,
it's not past 4. It's under 4. We're good.
They drank some of the juice.
And so my thing is, if I want to contact you, how do I contact? How can I get in touch with you to get out there and check it?
So I'm with Environmental Doctor.
All right.
We've been there since 1989 in Dayton for our primary office. And we're now moving into the southern markets. So now we have an office in Fairfield Township.
Okay.
But you can reach us by phone in the Cincinnati office at 513-361-0015.
Okay. I hope y'all wrote that down because as you see, outside of just having the knowledge to be able to educate you, what this guy does, I mean, he's doesn't work for, I don't have enough fingers, probably start going to my toes to count, but it's needed and it needs to be done. And I guess now I'm gonna have to use all my fingers and toes because everybody should get one done. Yep. Just for a peace of mind, testing. Not necessarily meaning it needs to be mitigated, right, but you need a testing for a peace of mind.
Absolutely. Yeah, we test them all the time where it comes back and it's acceptable and you're good to go, but at least you know.
At least you know. And they say knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, Joe, come on. Let's go.
Yeah, man. So again, I want to say thank you, Tim, for coming through the podcast and sharing your knowledge and definitely dropping some gems and imparting some of your wisdom on us, which is we need to have, right? You can't just be out here blind. And again, like I say in my other episodes, an expert knows when to call another expert.
Absolutely.
To find solutions or answers, especially being able to admit, hey, this isn't my field. This isn't where I'm licensed, but I got a guy, I got a lady, I got someone who can take care of us. And I appreciate for all that, the knowledge you share for us today.
Appreciate you having me on.
Oh man, as always.
Time. Appreciate working.
Hey, listen, we got another segment coming up. So when I call you, I need you to be ready because we got some. We gonna really dive
on deck. We're ready to go.
Let's go. So again, thank you for tuning in to the Your House is Key podcast. I'm your favorite realtor, Janelle Shepard, and again, my guest,
Tim HusVar with Environmental Doctor.
That's your favorite radon guy now.
Favorite one.
There you go. So as always, I'm signing out, and always remember, with me, your house is key. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Your House is Key with Janelle Shepard. Each week, Janelle dives into essential tips, insider secrets, and expert advice to help you navigate the exciting journey of home ownership and home selling. From understanding market trends and finding the perfect neighborhood to even securing financing, staging your home, and closing the deal. There's only one guy that gets it done. Janelle Shepard, right here at yourhouseskey.com.